What's going on, you guys? Slim here with a new video today, and today, you guys, I have the ultimate side deck guide for this new March 2021 format. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. You guys will be notified when I stream over on Twitch. Links are in the description. While you're down in the description, consider joining my ever-growing Discord community. If you yourself want to purchase any of these cards that I showcase and talk about today, and you know I highly suggest you do to combat the format, please use my TCG player link, as a portion of what you spend goes back to the channel. It helps me out and I really do appreciate it. And last but not least, if you further want to support me in the channel, consider becoming a channel member by clicking that join button or by becoming one of my Patreons. As always, with that out of the way, you guys, we're gonna hop right into this. This is always a good segment that you guys really enjoy. Now, note that this video is going to cover March 15th and onward until our new ban list. If anything new changes, if new decks come out and the format reshapes itself, I will make another side decking guide. However, I feel this will take care of the entire format leading up to our ban list, like I said, unless new decks come out and warp the format. So we will get into it without wasting any more time. So these three cards, this is never going to change. I always show these cards first. I always believe these were like the holy trinity of like side deck cards, but a lot of times these cards just don't make it into everyone's deck. But if you can play them, you should. This is the best side deck card ever printed, in my honest opinion. I think this card is just amazing. You also have Duster and you have Reboot. I mean, this is just for back row decks. I mean, what else can I say? So I just always like to show those off first. I think they're just some of the best cards you can play. Now we got a wad, literally a wad of hand traps, you guys. I'm going to go through these as fast as I can and explain why these cards should be in your main deck or most likely your side deck. Starting with Ash, I honestly just think this should be in your main deck, but I put it here because I have seen some decks that actually do put Ash in the side deck. Completely fine. Most versatile hand trap ever printed. There's a billion cards that it hits, so there's no reason not to have it somewhere in your main or your side. The format has rebounded back to Dragon Link. The best hand trap against Dragon Link, as you already know, is Nibiru. This card is main deck worthy. If you don't play it in your main deck, play it in your side deck. It's just that good against that deck. Well, it's not good against every deck. It is very strong against that deck. I know Virtual World has kind of taken a back seat based on the LCS results, but if you do see Virtual World come back, Nibiru is also very good against that deck and just punishes any deck that overextends and does not pay attention to how many summons they're conducting, so you want to have this. And then this is literally, I mean, I've been playing this in my main deck, so that's how good this card is, but this is the #1 side deck card that I see every format. I just honestly believe Lancea gets better and better and better each format. I don't think it gets worse. I think the card is just amazing. Dinosaurs, you know, got second place. Ryan, you piloted an amazing version of the deck. This is one of the best cards against them. Anything to stop Nisk is important, so you have to play this. Is just so good against Invoke. Can slow down Dragon Link. Like I said, it's almost main deck worthy, but for side deck purposes, it's easily one of the best cards you guys can play. This card has made a resurgence. This card is insane. Very good against Tri-Brigade. Very good against almost anything. Like, you just stop stuff. The reason why this card fell out of contention was because of VFD backed up with Chuche. Now that that's no longer a field you have to stare down, and Perm is extremely strong. 1-for-1 exchanges are important, and not only that, this can also sometimes catch some back row and catch a inexperienced player by surprise. If they activate a card in the same column, you negate that as well. So Imperm is fantastic, and you can activate it from your hand, so it is very versatile. Another card that has made a huge comeback. These next couple cards have made some comebacks. I'm going to put them actually together, and they are Phantasme and Ghost Ogre. So Phantasme is because of Dragon Link. Dragon Link cannot effectively play around this card. A lot of times you're drawing 3, maybe 4 cards, fixing your hand, putting a body on board. Dragon Link themselves can main deck this card. It's a dragon. They can use it for chaos space. Phantasme is just really good. Almost every deck Link summons again. Outside of Virtual World, almost every deck Link summons. So if you do choose to main deck this like Ben did, who won with Dragon Link in the LCS 11, you can get a lot of versatility with this card. Even dinosaurs have to link into like Linkuriboh and make plays, and when they do, you can drop this, get a body, draw a couple cards, fix your hand, put away the bricks. Like, it's very, very strong. Ogre is also very good against Dragon Link in certain sequences of their plays. It's also just an awkward hand trap. A lot of players do not prepare for Ogre. Like, if you get ogred in random situations, you kind of don't know how to react. So Ogre is very strong. I know some of the lists were side decking it. I even saw some lists that did main deck Ogre, basing it off of a Dragon Link format. So this card can come up in a lot of situations, so I really do like it. I don't know how effective it will continue to be in the format, but you definitely should take heed and definitely have it in your side deck or in your main deck again if you can fit it. And I know the side decks are only 15 cards, you guys, but do remember that the beauty of this whole like series is that you can just take a pile of these cards and then just decide what you want to play based on your needs. And a lot of these cards you see in the side deck could also be in your main deck, so just make sure you have access to them, and this gives you every option available and every option that I have at my disposal. I'm only human. I don't have every card in existence, but I'm showing you guys the best cards that I have at my disposal, and hopefully it helps you in the long run. This I've seen, it's usually a main deck staple for like for dinosaurs or for Virtual World. Other than that, I don't really know. I'm not really sure like what other decks would main deck this, but it is very good. I've seen some players side deck it just because it's that good side decking it, you know, post game 1. So I just have it in there. Again, certain decks will main deck it, but it can also be a side deck card. And then these hand traps, I'm not really sure how to feel about them just yet. Again, the format is new, but you like to have access to all of them. These are like your graveyard hitters. These are all fine. Very good against dinosaurs. These two especially, banishing Misk, this stopping Misk, like everything is just for Misk. This can stop Nadir Serve and Invocation, a lot of random stuff. Again, it's completely up to you. If you're playing a deck like Zulich, you can get away with main decking almost all of these. So this is just for other decks that don't have options or are not sure like what options they can play side deck wise. These are just some really good options you can have that are just good against a plethora of decks in the format. So I like to include them just to give you guys every hand trap option available. So that's why those are there. And then, okay, this card, it's weird. So because Drytron got hit so hard, people think this card isn't good. However, this card is still quite good against Invoke decks. If you guys noticed how many Invoke decks top the LCS, I think we're going to see a lot more Alistair decks, and because of that, Droll is very good. Droll does stop them in their tracks, especially the Dogmatica variant, since they search a lot. Any deck that searches a lot. Now, while I don't know how our format is going to continue to shape up, I like to include this card just because even though it's not that good against, you know, against every deck in the format, and Drytron is not really showing up just yet, I think that it's good just to have this in your back pocket just in case the format warps to where this card is warranted. And then the last are just some optional ones. I have Veiler, that's your budget option for impermanence, and I have D-Shifter if you are playing a deck that can play D-Shifter like Guru or what is it, Grenmaju. If your deck can play it, man, play this card. This card literally skips the opponent's turn. And then this is, like I said, your replacement for Imperm, because I know Imperms, even with the billion reprints, are still quite pricey. So that's it for the hand trap section. Now we're going to go to the board breaking section. This is just for stuff to stop floodgate monsters and just break the board completely. This is self-explanatory. This is against Tri-Brigade because of the barrier statue. You need to play the win one. Gamecill used to be here in its place, not anymore. It's Godarla or die, literally, because this card is just that important. So I have it in there as the best option. Also, Ouch Dragoon and floodgate monsters. This is also another pseudo Ouch Dragoon. I don't really like this card that much. I'm gonna be straight up honest. Like, it's a good side deck card. I think it's been very undervalued and just very underwhelming, but I wanted to include it just because it might start to see more play. Hopefully it does. I think the card is good in Grenmaju. I just don't know any other decks that can really get a lot of mileage with it, but for the reason and that it can out problematic floodgates and stuff and bounces to hand, I did want to include it. So yeah, that's why I have Alpha in there. Again, I'm not a super fan of it, but I wanted to include it to be fair. Unfortunately, this card just keeps going up because it's just that good. You got to break those unbreakable boards with Dragon Link, and to break them, if you don't have the money for Droplet, play Dark Ruler no more. Including both. Don't know what your budget is. Just want to give you guys both options. They're both very good. One does stop you from dealing damage. One does half the attack, and you can still deal damage. So obviously, this is the better card. It can hit more stuff in the long run. Opponent can't respond, so it's insane. This card is very good though. This is your budget option if you need it. And then the last card that actually falls into this category as well is actually Super Poly. So I have this because I did main deck this in my Mech Knight deck. This card was very good. It can break the Dragoon board. If they leave Verde and Dragoon, you just activate this, take away the Dragoon and the Verde, make a Starving Venom, you're good to go. This card's very, very good. If your deck can support it, if you're playing a deck like Shaddolls, you get a lot of mileage with this card. It's also very good against Shaddolls and the mirror match and stuff like that. So I wanted to give you guys that option as well. Like I said, I don't know if most decks will side deck this. The Dragon Link player did side deck this, so do take heed of that this has seen side deck play, so I wanted to include it and give you guys, again, another option that, depending on which rarity you get, it can be a cheaper option than Droplet, and if you don't have access to Dark Ruler, etc., etc. That's it for the board breakers. Now moving on quickly to the back row removal. Now back row decks, we don't know yet. We don't know how many Guru players there's going to be. Dragoon is still out. We don't know how many Altergeist players are there. We don't know how many Trap Eldritch decks are going to be out, so we just want to have every option possible. This will be the fastest section because you guys have seen all these cards before, and I'm just showing you everything I can think of. The Lightning Storms, the Cosmics, the Twins, the Evenly. I think Evenly is one of the most underrated but best cards against the trap decks. Literally just breaks their whole board. They're left with one card, they just lose. These are all the options. Play MST if you don't have access to these. You just need to have some back row removal in some shape or form, so I wanted to include them. Nothing else to say. Back row decks, they set 5, you activate one of these and go burr. Like literally, that's just how it goes. And then these were just the options. Like these are your other back row, like slow down the back row, stop the back row options. I put these together, the anti-spell in the order if your deck can play them. Making them set their cards or not being able to activate spells at all is enough to just win the game sometimes. So I wanted to include them both because I think they're both very good depending on what deck you play. If your deck can get mileage out of siding them, and these are cards obviously you side when going first. So That's all the back row removal / back row stopping options. Now on to the going first cards. Like you guys saw, the anti-spell and the order, those are going first options, but these are just other going first options depending on your deck. This is probably one of the best going first options ever. This card literally just says no. Its partner in crime is literally another card that basically says no to the summons. Card's very good. I've seen some decks main deck it. I think they're just both very good. They're counter traps. You don't really have a lot of responses to them, so they are very good at telling your opponent no this format. And then if you are playing a deck that can play Floodgates, summon limit in there can only be one of the ones that I like. I think they're both very good against the format, very good against Dragon Link, just stops what they're doing, and just very good against random matchups. Like just being able to stun them out, lock them on one monster is insane, or being able to stop them, limit them to 2 summons. Like literally most decks cannot play under that. So both of these are the best Floodgate options when going first if you're that type of deck that does play Floodgates and can get mileage out of them. And then these are a little more budget options for you guys. I always try to remember the budget players, of course. This is a very interesting card. So I don't think the card is that great. However, I think it is quite versatile, especially if you're on a budget. This card can hit Zulich. This card can hit Virtual World if you come up against it. It can hit several decks. Now, obviously, you can't do anything against decks that link, but it is good against those other decks for those options. So I like to have this. It's not terrible against shit-alls. You can call fusions, I guess. I just want to give you guys a budget option as well. Same with DD Ground. Again, most decks need their graveyard, so if you cut them off from their graveyard, they just can't play. A lot of times it can buy you a whole turn. It's kind of like a Dimension Shifter, just in trap form. And then if your deck can play it, I like this. Going first is just great. Lock them out of the extra deck for a turn. If you're playing a deck like Pure Mech Knights, you can summon this multiple times and lock them out back-to-back turns and win the game off it. So again, I wanted to include it because again, I don't know what deck you guys are playing, but I want to give you guys every option that I have at my disposal that I'd like you to have as well. So that's for all the going first cards. And then to wrap this up, you guys, I have just kind of the techie cards. And I say techie cards because these cards are good going first, going second. It just kind of depends, you know, kind of pick your poison. Unfortunately, this first one's expensive. This card has seen a lot of side deck play in certain decks just because it comes into the side deck when you know your opponent's going to hand trap at you. Like if you play a Dogmatica deck, you know they're going to come after Alistair. You just activate this, rip a card out of their hand or draw 2 cards, etc, etc. If you don't have access to it, don't worry about it. It's just here to give you guys that option if you do have it and aren't sure if you should main deck it or side deck it. If you get more mileage out of side decking, play it in the side deck. Another very versatile card is Book of Moon. Going first, going second, this card is great. It can bait and negate. It can stop your opponent from getting their plays off. It can flip a monster face down, take away their ability to link, take away their ability to synchro, take away their ability to XYZ. I think the card is very strong, and I think we're going to see more players playing it. I've seen it in some main decks, so definitely don't sleep on Book of Moon. It's one of the best cards. I'm super happy after all these years that, you know, it's back at 3 and it will continue to see play. And then there is Ice Dragon's Prison. I know this card, unfortunately, is like, what, like 46 bucks, some ridiculous-ass price. It is just that good, though. We're in a Dino format. Being able to, you know, this card is just so good against Dragoon, so good against Dino decks, so good against a lot of decks that you want to have every option possible, so I like this card. It's versatile, going first, going second. It can just help you and save you in a lot of situations. So if you have them, if you bought them early, get them. If you didn't get them now. Use my TCG player link. You guys already know. I think the card is just one of the most versatile cards in the game and one of the best trap cards ever printed. And last but not least, I have this stupid card. I don't care if you play it or not. I had to include it because I've seen it in some side decks and main decks. I mean, I'm not going to despise you for playing it, but I don't like this card. But I got to give you guys every option because I'm not going to be biased and say that I'm not going to see players playing this when they can actually steal games if the opponent doesn't have an out. But that is everything, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tried to make it as fast as possible. I know it's a lot of information to take in. Remember, your side deck is one of the most important things in this game. You're going to play more games sided than you will without it. So I really hope that this video helped. If there's anything that I forgot, and I'm sure there is because, again, I'm human. I don't have every card in existence. I definitely probably forgot some stuff. Please let me know what cards you are siding to combat this format in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.